top free things to do in New Orleans. Let's explore. This is the neworleans.com website. There's all sorts of things and information on it. We have New Orleans festivals at night, a guide to New Orleans nightlife, bars basically, cultural arts, tours, attractions, sports. I didn't even explore sports, French Quarter, music, and shopping. What is the least expensive way to do tours in New Orleans is to take a free walking tour, tours by foot. Now, I kept this going here. Before going, you might consider subscribing to the New Orleans free e-newsletter, because I'm sure that there's things that I don't have that they'll have in that newsletter. Plus, a lot of times newsletters have coupons and you can save money on things that you might spend on. Free tours by foot. I'm guessing that this whole thing is something that we can just click on and find out information about the free tours by foot. And they even have the best New Orleans tours for fall. Now, these are the tours by foot. Another place to go to look and enjoy things for free, top things for free in New Orleans. You got places to drink, where to drink, lots of drinking in New Orleans, yes. And we have the St. Louis Church. Here's the website. This is the inside of the church, obviously. More of the inside of the church, ornate. And then from a distance, wow, amazing. Famous in St. Louis is Cemetery Number 1. St. Louis Cemetery Number 1. Here is just an aerial view, and it's amazing. Look at that. These are actually grave sites, because look, there's a car, and there's the size of some of these grave sites. And I don't know if they're buried above ground or how exactly that goes, but it's pretty amazing. If these are all little mausoleums or how that goes, you'd have to go to New Orleans and find out. Now, unfortunately, the tours of the cemetery are no longer free. They cost $25, but you could just walk along here and get a good view of the cemetery, or walk along here and get a good view of the cemetery. Although it looks like you'd have to peek in between things. From overhead, you can see everything. And here's some views down here of the cemetery. More about the cemetery. There is a map you can get of the cemetery right here for $32. Puzzle coasters for $0. Maybe they just don't sell them anymore. Or they might be free, you never know. On Google, I found that when I did the search for number 1, there was also a lot of information that came up about St. Louis. About St. Louis. I'm on St. Louis. About New Orleans. And I remember back when I was in college, I got a ride from a traveling salesman that said, you really got to be careful in New Orleans. Was driven home again when I started looking down this thing. Let me see, where is it? Now, there was a movie that was filmed in the cemetery, Easy Rider. There was a scene out of Easy Rider that was done in the cemetery. What to avoid in St. Louis. Now, this is actually also true in New Orleans, which they're talking about. Old St. Louis, bad, and these are they're neighborhoods that you just basically do not want to go into. And there are things to avoid around St. Louis around the cemetery. Dangerous in Gravis Park. Population, just be careful when in. Lots of free things to do in New Orleans, but also you want to, just like visiting a foreign country, you want to follow the rules. And New Orleans has like its own set of rules. Hope that didn't scare you away from going, but it's better to be prepared than to be caught unaware. Mardi Gras World, this is a great place to go. You can actually get history tours, and then you come down here and you go, oh wow, a free shuttle. Well, it's free if you take the tour of the Mardi Gras Museum, which we'll get into, and bring out the Mardi Gras spirit. Mardi Gras, and you can view the parade floats and everything, which is amazing on this. Here's a little bit more about it and the tours. Adults, $22. That's fairly reasonable. Children, 2 to 12, $14. And military, I wonder if military retirees can get in for $17. Oh, I'm a senior, I can get in. There are some benefits to being old. Other places to go there's art all over. And it's free to look at art because people want to sell it. You can go to Frenchman Art Market. Here's the website. Here's their locations. They have showing on the map and art events. Press blog. I noticed COVID kind of shut down some things in New Orleans. And the cemetery, for example, I forgot to mention that, you do have to pay to get in there. You can't just, and I'm not talking about paying with your life. I'm talking about you have to pay money. It's $25 to get a tour of the cemetery. And it's run by a private contractor now through the Catholic Church. We're up to Arts Mart of New Orleans, Arts Markets, and you can subscribe to the newsletter. And this has all sorts of handmade stuff. Look at those. Everybody's got their thing out. This is where you get your stuff, your merch. Door street performers in New Orleans. We have where you can see them. Don't forget to tip them. Your best bets for finding buskers in New Orleans. Now, busker is somebody who performs for money, volunteered money. As local legends Elias Marcellus puts it, in other places, culture comes down from on high. In New Orleans, it bubbles up from the streets. Frenchman Street, specializing in jazz, there's day or night. There's sounds in Frenchman Street. Royal Street Pedestrian Fair, Jackson Square. And you have a view of St. Louis Cathedral. French Market, pick up some classic local cuisine and great souvenirs there. Musical Legends Park, French Quarter, full meal alongside of bronze sculptures, famous local musicians. Like that. City parks in New Orleans, there's something that doesn't cost anything. You can go visit the city parks and look at all the city parks. Botanical Garden, Casual Gardens. You could spend your whole vacation in New Orleans just going to all of the city parks. So some of these are actually attractions, but outdoor recreation, we got Big Lake, birding, boating and biking, disc golf. There's a lot of attractions in New Orleans. All you have to do is, with a little bit of planning, you can plan a great vacation. Audubon Park is a place where kids can play. And you got Bird Island. You can go out there and see where all the birds are. Lots of birds in New Orleans. Audubon Parks. Lots of culture, art, and things to do and see in New Orleans. A little bit of preparation, check out about the weather, and have a great time. Because Mardi Gras is all the time in New Orleans.